We have laws that are the worst anywhere in the world as far as stopping people from coming in. But with that being said, we're down over 40% border crossings. We've been able to do what I think nobody else has been able to do.
That was President Trump talking about the illegal immigration crisis. But there is something you don't often hear about, a legal immigration crisis, thanks to chain migration. The White House has released figures showing that chain migration, check this out, is responsible for 7.8 million immigrants who've come to the United States in the last decade. It's like the size of New York City, right? That's the vast majority of roughly 10.8 million legal immigrants who've come here again since 2008. So chain migration allows newly naturalized citizens to bring in essentially unlimited number of foreign relatives to the country, even often distant relatives. Here to discuss this is Ronald Vitiello, Acting Deputy Commissioner of U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Ron, it's good to see you. Thanks for being in here tonight.
Thanks for having me.
So we hear a lot about illegal immigration, but that part of the immigration question I think a lot of people forget about, that what President Trump has wanted to do from the very beginning, as well as enforce the border we're going to talk about, is to have sensible legal immigration policies that bring in people that are going to really add value to our country.
He certainly renewed the spirit of the men and women in immigration customs enforcement at CBP for us to do more on the border. There is a generous immigration system, but we need to do more on the border, and he's asked also for the loopholes to be closed. So those are really important things that we want to see get done. So
the asylum fraud, how important would that be for you and the men and women on the front lines doing this job every day to get that asylum, those loopholes in that system that allow so many people to come in now and then just, frankly, sadly, disappear?
We have to get to a place where if people come into the country illegally, if they have a due process, that they have that while they're still in custody, so that they're not abusing the system as it is now.
So in other words, they don't flee and never show up for their hearing,
Correct.
Which is what they often do.
Correct. So that's why we're asking for these loopholes to be closed, because we can do more on the border. We are doing better on the border. With this president, we have new wall going in. We have the National Guard deployments.
Tell us about the wall, because I hear conflicting things about the wall, because we heard that the omnibus funded the wall, but then we heard it actually didn't fund the wall, and the president wasn't told the truth about that. Certainly not the wall that he wants.
So we're installing a wall right now, Calexico, California, which is replacing dilapidated fence that was on the border now. So we've got new capability going in there, new capability in Santa Teresa, New Mexico, replacing vehicle fence with border wall. We have projects and planning underway for South Texas and San Diego for replacement in California. So all of those are going to be improved conditions for our agents to work in, a safer border environment, and more technology to go along with it.
You know, I had, over the years, interviewed so many Border Patrol agents and customs agents who were so demoralized because they want to do their job, and they felt like, and I'm not trying to get political here, but under the previous administration, they were kind of being held back, or even sometimes vilified unfairly. Tell me about just the general, you referenced it briefly, but the general mood of the people who have to do this job. And oftentimes, it is not a safe job. It is a very difficult job.
They take enormous risks, and they want to be successful. So the renewed focus on border security has been very important for us. So adding capability, doing better, doing it in a safer environment, and giving what the American people want. They want a safer border. And now we have this opportunity with this president to try to get more of that capability down there so that we can do our jobs.
Tell me what you all need Congress to do. You have Republicans in charge of the House, Republicans in charge of the Senate, and a Republican president who made border enforcement a primary focus of his administration.
So we want him to prioritize investments so that we can add capability. So the border wall system, we're trying to hire agents. We need to do that. And we also need these loopholes closed. We need the loop to be closed on the asylum system. We need to have a way to hold people when they come into the country until their time to be removed, once they have their due process. So if we can do all of those things at the same time, we'll have a much safer border. Fewer people will try to take that dangerous journey. So that's what we're asking for.
We have people in Congress now, a number of mostly more moderate liberal Republicans, trying to push a new amnesty. They call it this, there's a technical way of getting a lot of bills on the floor. We don't have to go into it, but would amnesty, or the prospect of amnesty at this point, as we approach the summer months, would that make your job easier or more difficult?
I don't believe so. What we need to do is
you don't believe what? Which one?
I don't think
easier or more difficult?
I don't think it'll make it easier.
Make it more difficult, would it not? Like the summer of 2014, when there was a possibility of amnesty with Boehner and Cantor and all those guys, and you had a big wave of unaccompanied minors crossing the border. Remember that summer? It was
the cartels will look for ways to exploit the way the system is working now. So closing the loopholes and adding the capability in these investments, border wall, the National Guard, giving us more technology on the border, hiring agents, that's what we need to do.
How about the prosecutors at the border? How about the fact that you need these immigration judges down there? Again, they have like 6,000 more personnel, I believe, immigration officials and judges down there. That's what the president, I believe, is getting. But when you have tens of thousands of people crossing in a 3- and 4-week period, I mean, you need more than that, do you not?
So the Justice Department is stepping up. They're adding resources. They went to the 100% prosecution. So the Secretary has directed us to refer all people who cross the border illegally for prosecution. And so we're starting to ramp up those capabilities as well. What we've learned over the years, if you apply a consequence to people when they're doing illegal activity, you'll get less of it.
Yeah, heaven forbid you actually have consequences for illegal activity. Keep us updated, because I think the American people need to hear from you directly. You guys are doing the job.
That's
and
right.
we need to hear from you directly what you need. There's no politics here. What you need to get the job done, period. Will you keep us informed?
Happy to do that.
We really appreciate it.